Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the state of Tennessee in the county ship. Today, date early Sunday morning, June 19, 2016, time 4:50 a.m. First, say thank you to all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement, support, continue to keep myself employed right here in the city of Memphis in this tri-state area, and continue to further my education at Monroe College online, pursuing my associate degree, studying business administration, concentration marketing. For today's video, we will continue talking about African traditional religion. The music you're hearing in the background, that's African hip hop. And like I said, on today's video, we're going to continue to talk about African traditional religion. And as you know, today here in the United States of America, today is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Father's Day to everybody. And on today's video, we're going to continue talking about African traditional religion. As you know, African traditional religion is being taught in institutions of higher learning, colleges and universities in sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa. You can earn a bachelor's degree, you can earn a master's degree, you can earn a PhD in African traditional religion. African traditional religion, like I said, you can go to the campus in sub-Saharan Africa, or you can study online. Institutions such as, for example, the Open University of Nigeria, they teach African traditional religion on the campus as well as online. Another institution, they teach African traditional religion. The University of South Africa, they teach at the campus and they teach online. Now, where sub-Saharan Africa, get the map. Now, this is a map. Now, this is a map. This is a linguistic map. This is a language map. See it right at the top. Map of the distribution of African language. Now, as you can see, the colors in blue. You see the countries. It's the Afro-Asiatic. You see all the yellow. It's the Nilo-Saharan. You see the dark orange color. It's the Niger-Congo A. You see the kind of light orange color. That's the Niger-Congo B, Bantu. Now, this map has a color code. It tells you that the blue is the Afro-Asiatic. It tells you that the yellow is the Nilo-Saharan. It tells you that that dark orange color is the Niger-Congo A. It tells you that the light orange color is the Niger-Congo B, the Bantu. Now you see the green. The green color, that's the Khoi and the San people. They put it together, Khoi San. Those are two groups of people, the Khoi people and the San people. Don't get that mixed up. And don't forget about the Bantu expansion into sub-Saharan Africa, where the Bantu intermarried with the Khoi people and the San people. You see that purple lavender color over there on the island of Madagascar? That's the Austronesians who migrated from Indonesia. The Austronesians. And then they settled in Madagascar. Now this is a Niger Congo map. This is a Niger Congo map. This is a Niger Congo map. It shows you the places where on the African continent that the Niger Congo live, mostly in West Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa. The Niger Congo primary languages. The Niger Congo language, the primary branch, the Volta Congo. Now you have your South Volta. You have your South Volta. That's the Bantu. Then you have your Bantu. Besides Bantu, you have your other East Benue Congo. You have your West Benue Congo. And you have your Khoi. Those are all in the South Volta category. Then you have your North Volta. Kru, Sinufo, Gur, that's a Volta language. Your Adamawa and Ubunjian, those are in the North Volta category. Then you have your other primary branches, your Kordofan, your Mandi, your Atlantic, and your Dogon. Niger Congo. This is another Niger Congo language map. Okay, you have your Atlantic group, that's your Wolof, your Fule, and also your Sira. It may not be listed on here, your Sira. That's another Atlantic. Then you have your Mandi, Bambare, your Bambare, Maliki, and Mandingo, your Diule, your Diule. Then you have your Kru, you have your Gur, and in the Gur category, you have your Moor. Then you have your Khoi. And in the Khoi category, you have your Bali, Akan, and Iwi. You have your Dogon, you have your Ajoy, you have your Adamawa, Ubunji, and in the Adamawa, Ubunji, you have your Jibaye, Bande, and your Zandi. Then you have your Kordofanians, you have your non-Bantoid, Yaruba, and Igbo. You have your Bantoid, Fang, Tiki, Lingale, Mungo and Kundu, Congo, Chauki, Lube, Lugande, Rwanda, Rundi, Sukume, Kikuyu. Then you have your Bantu, Swahili, Mekume, Inyanji, Bimbe, Shone, Tisange, Northern Soto, Zulu, Southern Soto, Kosa, Tiswane, Ndange, Bandu. Those are just some of the Niger Congo. There's others. Let's don't forget. There are other Niger Congo that may not be listed on the map. There are other Niger Congo speaking people. gonna take just about 5 minutes. We're gonna go to our Yoruba and our Igbo. It'll take just a minute. I go over here to the where it says Yoruba vocabulary. Yoruba vocabulary. We on ilanguages.org. Yoruba and ilanguage.org. Igbo. We're gonna go to Yoruba first. So go over here to the Yoruba vocabulary. Scroll down. Go to where it says words you can use in class or talking about school. We're gonna start with student. Kiko, books. A1 Awi, teacher. O Luco, page. Oju Iwi, pen. Kelemu, dictionary. Awi Atumo Oro. So let's go over to the Igbo. Igbo vocabulary. Scroll down where it says words you can use in class or talking about school. We're on ilanguages.org. ilanguages.org, Yoruba, and ilanguages.org, Igbo. We just did the Yoruba. Now we're on the Igbo. We're on the vocabulary. So scroll down where it says words you can use in class or talking about school. Student. Enwete, Akwukwo. Books. Otutu, Akwukwo. Teacher. Onyi Nkuza. Page. Aru Akwukwo. Aru Akwukwo. Pen. Idimidi. Dictionary. Akwukwo Nkowe. Akwukwo Nkowe. Dictionary. We're gonna stop right there. We're gonna go into our read. First book we're gonna start with West African Traditional Religion. West African Traditional Religion, Dr. Joseph Omasede Evalelu and Dr. P. Adelumo Do Pemu. We're in chapter 5, the cults of God and the divinities. Divination. Divination is the practice of attempting to foretell the future, reveal the unknown, or find out the wish of a divinity or spirit. Those who engage in the art of divination are called diviners. They may they may either be priests connected with the cults of certain divinities, or they are men of power. Diviners are consulted when something is lost, when a barren woman desires children, when there is an inexplicable disease, when one has a strange dream, during the crisis of life, when a child is born, a betrothal to find the appropriate husband, a death to find the cause of the death, and during an undertaking. Many different systems of divination are used by different peoples in West Africa. Some diviners use a four-valve cola nut. The valves are thrown or cast on the ground, and the way in which they fall gives the answer to the diviner's questions. Among the Yoruba, the falling of the convex side and the concave side is read as in Ife divinatory system. The valves may be thrown several times before the right message is given. The most developed divinatory system in West Africa is that of Ife, associated with the cult of Orunmile among the Yoruba. This system has spread to other neighboring peoples, and it is practiced among the Fon, the Iwi, and the Edo. The system is based on 16 basic and 256 derivative figures called Odu. These figures are obtained by the manipulation of 16 palm nuts called Iken, or by the cast or toss of a chain or string of 8 half pods. The string or chain is called Opili. To use the first method, there is usually a divining tray sprinkled with divinatory powder, Oyirosan. The diviner grabs the 16 palm nuts in his clenched fist, beats them ceremonially, and attempts to take all in his right hand. If 2 nuts remain, he marks 1 stroke on the powder tray. If 1 nut remains, he marks 2 strokes. If no nut is left, or more than 2 are left, then the turn must be repeated. He repeats his procedure 4 times to give one of the 16 basic figures, or 8 times to give a combination of the basic figures, that is, one of the 256 derivative figures. In the second method, the diviner throws the divining chain on the ground. The oracle is interpreted according to the number of half pods that present convex or concave surfaces. The chain is usually taken by the middle so that 4 half pods or shells hang on either side. The convex surface of a half pod is equivalent to a double marker stroke, and the concave surface is equivalent to a single marker stroke. Either of the 2 methods will give a figure. Each figure has a name. Ij Obi is the name of Odu figure, believed to be the prince of all other Odu. It is obtained by making a single mark 8 times, 2 nuts being left in the left hand. The strokes are marked in 2 columns. Thus, I'm gonna finish reading, then I'm gonna show you the picture. Oyiku Mija is usually mentioned after Ija Obi in order of importance. This also is obtained by making double marks 8 times, a nut being left in the left hand each time the diviner attempts to take all the nuts in his right hand. The marks are made in 2 columns of 4 each. Or Oyiku Mija, each of the figures has a story connected with it. When a figure is obtained, the diviner recites the story connected with it, and then identifies the problem and solution in the story with those of his client. The client is advised to do according to the message of the story. Usually, a sacrifice is prescribed. Some diviners use 416 calories. These are cast on the ground, and a figure known by the name of Ife figure is obtained. The figure here is also associated with memorized stories, as we find in Ife. People regard this method as a derivative from Ife. Other forms of divination used in West Africa include water gazing, sand cutting, and mirror gazing. The diviners may utter some incantations before an answer is got. Whatever method is used, the diviner takes a fee for his work. As pointed out above, most diviners are very versed in the art of magic and medicine. They are therefore very important people in the community, since they are believed to be capable of discerning the problems of their clients, and offering the necessary assistance and remedies. We're going to stop right there. I'm going to show you the pictures. So we're going to stop right there. We're going to come back tomorrow and finish reading. We're going to stop right there. And we just got to read chapter 5, the cults of God and the divinities. In the book we were reading from, West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Omasede Eweledu and Dr. P. Adalumo Dopemu. We're going to read now from the book titled African Traditional Religion, a definition written by Dr. E. Balogun I. Dowu. We read from chapter 3, the study of African traditional religion. We're on number 5, the aim of the study. The aim of the study. In the study of African traditional religion, we do not set out to glorify the dead past of Africa. This is a temptation against which African scholars especially must be on their guard. In these days of vigorous nationalism, of negritude, of African personality, there is always the tendency to wish to drag the dead back to life rather than for the living to realize their own intrinsic personalities and make sure of their own bearings for now and for eternity. If there are any values by which the forebears lived and by which the present generations are living, if there is any heritage from the past which is spiritually and morally potent for today, these are the things to be researched into, refined if need be, and preserved for posterity. It is both spiritually and morally wrong to approach our study with the mind that for Africans, whatever had or has been African, practiced traditionally by Africans centuries ago, recently or currently, must be good enough. This is to study with prejudice. African scholars need to beware of being so emotionally involved as to lose their scholarly perspective. The purpose of the study should be to discover what Africans actually know, actually believe, and actually think about deity in the supersessional world. There is a whole world of difference between this and what any investigators at home or from abroad prescribe through preconceived notions that Africans should know, believe, and think. It is also to find out how their beliefs have inspired their worldviews and molded cultures in general. To achieve this end, the scholar must guard against reading in what is not there and reading out what is there with regard to African beliefs and practices. This involves the matter of critical judgment and interpretation, which are a great responsibility, especially where one is dealing with a culture that is not one's own or where one is in danger of feeling too much at home. I may give 2 illustrations. Once I met an Englishman in Minna, Nigeria. He told me that he was working among the Jiwari, a very interesting people. They are stone worshippers. How do you know that they are stone worshippers? I asked. Oh, one day I was traveling with the boys, his porters and domestic servants. During the afternoon, we stopped to rest near a village. One of the boys sat on a boulder. A woman came out of a hut and was very furious with him and drove him off. That stone, I gathered, was their god, and that was how I knew they were stone worshippers. Recently, a research student was working in the sacred city of the Yaru. By his conversation, I discovered that he had been visiting one person, and only one, whom he called possessively my informant. It turned out that my informant was one of the sophisticated sons of the place, who had made up his mind long ago about what things should be, drawn his own conclusions, and closed his mind. On being asked whether or not he consulted the priests and the elders of the people, our research student said, "Oh, no, my informant is very knowledgeable. He can tell me all that I want to know." I leave these two illustrations to the reader's judgment. I'm going to stop right there. And we just got through reading chapter 3, the study of African traditional religion. That was number 5, the aim of the study. And the book we were reading from, African Traditional Religion, a definition written by Dr. E. Baloji Adowu. Book we're finna read from right now is African Religions and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty. And we're reading from chapter 15. Chapter 15, Specialists, Medicine Men, Rainmakers, Kings, and Priests. This is one of the areas in which the question of terminology is extremely difficult in describing either collectively or individually the people to be discussed here. I shall call these people specialists in virtue of their specialized office, knowledge and skill in religious matters, but other terms are used such as sacred personages, special men, sacred men, or sacred specialists. As we shall see, there are different terms for each of the specialists, and some of those terms overlap just as the nature and role of some specialists also overlap. Written information varies widely from good and thorough studies to unreliable and worthless material. It needs to be pointed out also that since specialists belong to a special category of their own, they have a language, symbolism, knowledge, skill, practice, and what I may call office personally of their own, which are not known or easily accessible to the ordinary person, whether he is a villager or a scholar in search of knowledge. As such, there still remains a great deal of inner information to be gathered and made available to the public. Specialists play an important role in the life of African villages and communities, but we shall limit our discussion to their religious significance. A. The medicine men. The medicine men. To African society, the medicine men are the greatest gift and the most useful source of help. Other names for them are herbalists, traditional doctors, or Wengangu, to use a Swahili word. These are the specialists who have suffered most from European American writers and speakers who are often and wrongly called them witch doctors, a term which should be buried and forgotten forever. Every village in Africa has a medicine man within reach, and he is the friend of the community. He is accessible to everybody, and at almost all times, it comes into the picture at many points in individual and community life. There is no fixed rule governing the calling of someone to become a medicine man. This may come when he is still young and unmarried, or in his middle or late life. In other cases, a medicine man passes on the profession to his son or other young relatives. There are medicine men who believe that spirits are the living dead, have called them in dream, visions, or in walking to become medicine men. There are both women and men in this profession. Their personal qualities vary, but medicine men are expected to be trustworthy, upright morally, friendly, willing, and ready to serve, able to discern people's needs and not be exorbitant in their charges. On the whole, they are influential, though in some societies they have no official position outside their professional duties. The skill and success of medicine men vary naturally from person to person. In some societies, it is believed that the medicine men possess special gifts or powers obtained either through birth or eating certain medicines. In every case, medicine men must undergo formal or informal training. Among the Azandi, for example, their training is long and expensive, even starting the preliminary preparation at the age of 5 years in some cases. When a young person has made his wishes known that he intends to become a medicine man, he is carefully scrutinized by his would-be teacher to ascertain that he really means business. Then he is given medicine to eat, which is believed to strengthen his soul and give him powers of prophecy. He is initiated into the corporation by public burial. He is given witchcraft phlegm to swallow, and he is taken to a stream source and shown the various herbs and shrubs and trees from which the medicine are derived. That is the procedure to becoming a medicine man among the Azandi. But in reality, it takes a long time to reach the goal, and it is a complicated affair. Each teacher has his own regulations for his pupils, such as refraining from eating animals like elephants, house rats, and various plants, and from sexual intercourse or bathing for several days when one has eaten certain medicines from one's teacher. Payment for the training also varies and is made from time to time as the candidate continues to acquire his knowledge, which may occasionally consist of learning one medicine a month or every 2 months. This example from the Azandi does not by any means apply to all African societies. There are many who have a less formal training, but in either case, part of the training involves some kind of apprenticeship. Candidates acquire knowledge in matters pertaining to the medicinal value, quality, and use of different herbs, leaves, roots, fruits, barks, grass, and of various objects like minerals, dead insects, bones, feathers, powders, smoke from different objects, excreta of animals and insects, shells, eggs, and so on. The causes, cures, and prevention of diseases and other forms of suffering, such as barrenness, failure in undertakings, misfortunes, poor crop, yield in the field, magic, witchcraft, and sorcery, and how to combat or even use them. The nature and handling of spirits and the living dead, and various secrets, some of which may not be divulged to outsiders when the training is over. When the training is over, the candidate is, in some societies, formally and publicly initiated into the profession of medicine man, so that everyone may recognize him in his qualification. Medicine men form association or corporation in some society, such as among the Azandi. The duties of medicine men are many and varied, and overlap with those of other specialists. We should take two examples to illustrate this point. Among the Indabili, the medicine man supplies medicated pegs for the gates of a new homestead. He combats witchcraft and magic by preventing their action and sometimes by sending them back to their authors. After the burial, it is the medicine man who performs the ceremony of striking the grave. If the person has died from witchcraft, the ceremony is performed at sunset. The son and brother of the dead man visit the grave together with the medicine man. The medicine man carries a medicated stick with which he strikes the grave, saying, "So and so, wake up, go and fight." It is believed that the spirit of the dead person wakes up and goes in the form of a small animal to the home of the witch who killed him. The animal waits there until one of the members of the witch's family sees and kills it. Then members of this family begin to die. If the family of the witch admits guilt, then the members pay cattle to the family of the dead man, and the curse of the revenge is closed, or a powerful medicine man is called to remove or stop it. Among the Azandi, the medicine man cures the sick and warns of impending danger. It is he who removes failure from hunting and from farming. He can harm or protect, kill or cure. He attacks witchcraft and magic with his medicines, of which he knows, and keeps plenty for this and other purposes. Nobles are said to patronize medicine men because their magic is good magic. It causes no one an injury and protects many from harm. All the people are agreed that the medicine man is harmless, and everyone praises his medicine, even if the medicine man may fight among themselves, which they do without harming other people. They are constantly being summoned to court or to people's homes, and they practice also as diviners. They perform as seances intended to watch over the witches, expose their intentions, and frustrate their activities. In all important situations, the Azandi may summon the medicine man with a general commission to ferret out witch activities in the neighborhood and to protect people against them. Princesses are patronized and protect medicine men, especially in order to get protection against witchcraft and political conspiracy. Every medicine man is a professional indicator of witchcraft. We may summarize the duties of medicine men from these and other accounts as follows. First and foremost, medicine men are concerned with sickness, disease, and misfortune. In African societies, these are generally believed to be caused by the ill will or ill action of one person against another, normally through the agency of witchcraft and magic. The medicine man has therefore to discover the cause of the sickness, find out who the criminal is, diagnose the nature of the disease, apply the right treatment, and supply a means of preventing the misfortune from occurring again. This is the process that medicine men follow in dealing with illness and misfortune. It is partly psychological and partly physical. Thus, the medicine man applies both physical and spiritual or psychological treatment, which assures the sufferer that all is and will be well. The medicine man is in effect both doctor and pastor to the sick person. His medicines are made from plants, herbs, powders, bones, seeds, roots, juices, leaves, liquids, minerals, charcoal, and the like. And in dealing with a patient, he may apply massages, needles, or thorns, and he may bleed the patient. He may jump over the patient. He may use incantations and ventriloquism, and he may ask the patient to perform various things like sacrificing a chicken or goat, observing some taboos, or avoiding certain foods and, and persons. All these are in addition to giving the patient physical medicines. In African villages, disease and misfortune are religious experiences, and it requires a religious approach to deal with them. The medicine men are aware of this and make attempts to meet the need in a religious or quasi-religious manner. Whether or not that turns out to be genuine or false, or a mixture of both. Obviously, some of the activities involved in dealing with illness may not have any overt value, but they are psychologically vital and no doubt play a great role in healing the sick or helping the sufferer. In this case, the means are less important than the end, and that is how both the medicine man and his patient see and experience the situation which brings them together. On the whole, the medicine man gives much time and personal attention to the patient, which enables him to penetrate deep into the psychological state of the patient, even if it is explained to a patient that he has malaria because a mosquito carrying malaria parasites has stung him, and he will still want to know why the mosquito stung him and not another person. The only answer which people find satisfactory to that question is that someone has caused or sent the mosquito to sting a particular individual by means of magical manipulations. Suffering, misfortune, disease, and accident are all caused mystically as far as African peoples are concerned. To combat the misfortune or ailment, the cause must also be found and either counteracted, uprooted, or punished. This is where the value of the traditional medicine man comes into the picture. So long as people see sickness and misfortune as religious experiences, the traditional medicine man will continue to exist and thrive. Modern hospitals may deal with the physical side of disease, but there is the religious dimension of suffering, which they do not handle, and for that purpose, a great number of patients will resort to both hospitals and medicine men without a feeling of contradiction. Although, if they are Christian or educated, they might only go secretly to the medicine man or follow his treatment. Another important duty of medicine men is to take preventive measures. We have just pointed out that people experience suffering as being caused by mystical forces applied or used against them by their enemies or by those who hate them. This is often magic, witchcraft, sorcery, evil eye, or bad words. The medicine men must therefore supply people with countermeasures. These are generally in form of charms, performing rituals at the homes or fields of those in need, or applying medicines that are swallowed or rubbed into the body. Medicine men also give aid to increase productivity or give good results. They advise and assist on how a man may, may win more love from his wife. They give help to impotent men. They treat people in order to prosper in business or succeed in politics. They supply various aids to students to enable them to pass their examinations. They perform various rites to increase the fertility and productivity of the fields or livestock and barren women or their husbands and relatives. Continue to consult them in search of being able to bear children. It is also the duty of the medicine man of the medicine men to purge witches, detect sorcery, remove curses, and control the spirits and living dead. They have access to the forces of nature and other forms of knowledge, unknown or little known by the public. Therefore, the public entrusts them with the duty of removing what may harm the community. This is an area which goes deep into the beliefs of people, whether these are objective realities or not. In short, the medicine men symbolize the hopes of society, hopes of good health, protection, and security from evil forces, prosperity and good fortune, and ritual cleansing when harm or impurities have been contracted. These men and women are not fools. They are on the average intelligent and devoted to their work. And those who are not simply do not prosper or get too far. As in any country or profession, there are those who deliberately cheat their fellow men for the sake of gain and publicity. Some genuine medicine men are also involved in harmful practices in the course of the performance of their duties. Whatever abuses may be apparent in the activities of medicine men, it would be extremely unjust to condemn their profession. Medicine men are the friends, pastors, psychiatrists, and doctors of traditional African villages and communities. Even in modern towns, one still finds or hears of medicine men, some of whom are quite prosperous both professionally and economically. The strain of urban life has precipitated new situations of need, and these men are no doubt making a contribution towards the solving of the new problems by means of traditional methods. One gets the impression, however, that urban medicine men are less trustworthy than those in the countryside. Part of the reason for this is the more impersonal life of urban society, and the other part is money economy, which encourages quick gain by either honest or dishonest means. The medicine man is one of the specialists whose profession is likely to continue in Africa for several generations, especially since people's needs continue to increase through modern change, and he is moving his practice into the urban centers where these needs are most concentrated. Leading politicians in a number of African countries are known to consult medicine men, just as do university students, which no doubt gives the medicine men quite a high status and ensures the continuity of their profession. A number of university graduates are known to have become or worked with medicine men, and I have heard that in at least 2 countries there are medicine men working side by side with doctors or in hospitals. Undoubtedly, careful research in traditional medicine and medical practices may one day yield great benefits for all mankind. My little research among medicine men has shown me that they need and deserve to be respected both as persons and for their profession. It is only by approaching them with such an attitude and spirit of humility that the scholar or scientist may hope to have access to their specialized knowledge. Though some of that knowledge can be acquired only by the initiated and probably under an oath of secrecy. We're going to stop right there. Okay, we just got through reading chapter 15, specialists, medicine men, rainmakers, kings, and priests. And we'll be reading from the book written by Dr. John S. Beatty, African Religions and Philosophy. And we're going to continue our reading. We're going to be reading from a book written by Dr. John S. Beatty, Concepts of God in Africa. And we read from part 4. Part 4. God and Man. Part 4, God and Man. And we're reading number 19, Worship. Worship, intermediaries, and other specialists. General. The concept of intermediaries is widespread in African societies. Man feels that he cannot or should not approach God alone or directly, and must do so through the mediation of special persons or other beings. The reason for this feeling and practice derives mainly from the social and political life of different African peoples. It is the custom, for example, among some societies, for the children to speak to their fathers through their mothers or older brothers and sisters. In others, the subjects approach their king or chief only indirectly through the intermediary of those who are closer to him. Certainly, these examples do not apply in many societies, but they illustrate the social and political background which has fostered the birth and development of the concept of intermediaries in religious life. There are, however, occasions when people approach God directly without the use of intermediaries. Priests. The existence of priests is reported among many societies, including the Abaluya, Alua, Mbe, also priestesses, the Ankori hereditary, the Ashanti, Ushi, Bikini, Banyawanda, Banyoro, Barundi, Besoge, also priestesses, Bavinde, hereditary, Banawe, hereditary, Butawe, Chewa, Edo, Iwi, the Gay, the Ganda, the Gisu, Hariro, Igbo, Kipsigis, Katimi, Karume, Lango, Loza, Mikan, Mandari, Rukube, Sandavi, Shone, Sonjo, hereditary, Skrubu, Baruda, hereditary, Taikar, Turu, Bugusu, Wajawe, and Yaruba. In some of these societies, the priests are formally trained and commissioned, ordained. The duties of priests are mainly making sacrifices, offerings, and prayers, conducting both public and private rites and ceremonies, giving advice, performing judicial functions in some societies, helping in search of lost things in some societies, caring for the temples and shrines where these exist, and above all, fulfilling their office as religious intermediaries between men and God. The study of African traditional priesthood is still at its infancy, and we do not have many full accounts of it. We shall take examples from some of the peoples mentioned above to illustrate the concepts attached to the priesthood among them. The Iwi believe that their priests are called by God. Before someone becomes a priest, he is trained first, then initiated, and finally cleansed or consecrated. Priestly duties include the performance of daily and weekly rites, the offering of prayers for blessings, forming of daily and weekly rites, the offering of prayers for blessings for the barren and other needy persons, and the making of libation. The Lozai have a supreme priest among the others who makes offerings to God on national crisis. Under him are other priests appointed by the king and council and put in charge of the royal graves. These also make national offerings and sacrifices. The Macan believe that God communicates with the priests through the rainbow, which brings them with him. The Sanjo priesthood is said to have originated with God's call to a man in a dream to perform sacrifices for the Sanjo. Henceforth, it becomes hereditary, and each of the 6 villages has its own temples and priests. In addition to those found in the headquarters, the priests and their families wear only skin garments, and qualified priests wear a bracelet on the left wrist. The numbers, names, and activities of the priests are not divulged to outsiders. Their duties are mainly temple rites, and the priests are said to be the repositories of mythical and experts on questions of theology. The priest officiating at the Shone assembly of approaching God is not allowed to partake of alcoholic drinks. The religious leader, the Mogwi of the Miru, must observe sexual continence before and after making sacrifice and special prayers. In some societies, the priest has also political duties. Among the Hariro, the priest is also the chief of the local group. He is regarded as representing God among the people. His duties include the care of the holy fire in the temple, sacrificing, the maintenance of national, tribal ceremonies and customs, and the ritual tasting of milk before which nobody may taste or use it. The tasting of milk is regarded as neutralizing its holiness, thus making it safe for people to use it. The Mundara priest is also the political head, the rainmaker, and the judge. The people believe that when he is giving judgment, his words are given to him by God. The same is reported among the Rukube, whose priests are also the political heads of their village. The duties of these priests include interceding with God on behalf of the people, performing the rain-making ceremony, and leading the community in their fertility festivals. Each priest is put on probation for 7 years, and in one place the period is between 36 and 42 years. If drought, pestilence, or shortage of wives arises during the probation of a priest, he is disqualified and deposed. The Batuwe political headman also presides as the priest at the religious rites. Similarly, the Taikar political head fund performs priestly functions on the occasion of the annual sacrifices to God and the departed. These sacrifices are to ensure the fertility of the women and land. It is reported that in 1946, this king priest had 94 wives. There is, however, an elected high priest who is known as the father of the country, and a high priestess who is known as the mother of the country. These two assist the head of the country in making major sacrifices at planting time and during the dry period. This is done at the royal cemetery, but there are altars along the paths at which minor rituals are carried out. Each political subdivision has centers with shrines and stone altars where offerings and sacrifices are made to God. Among some societies, priests serve both God and the divinities, or only the latter. The Ankori hereditary priests are only for the divinity of war, and there are none for God. The same is reported about the Ashanti and Banyoro, who have priests only for their divinities. The the Besoge, the Besoge priests serve both God and the divinities. The Ganda had formerly a highly developed priesthood for the divinities, and some of the temples had up to 4 priests. The duties of these priests were to receive the people who came to have an interview with the divinities, take offerings, intercept the oracles given through the mediums, and maintain the temple areas. The priests are regarded as sacred. They wear bark cloths, 9 white goat skins around the waist, and a headdress of a jackal skin. When the priests are robbed for duty, people may neither touch them, when the priests are robed for duty, people may neither touch them nor draw near to them. For the Aruba, the priest has always been an important social figure. Virtually nothing is done without the administration of the priest. He is said to look after the soul of the community and to feature prominently in the installation of kings and making of chiefs. We're going to stop right there. Okay, we just got to read from part 4, God and Man. And we just got to read number 19, worship, intermediaries, and other specialists. And we're reading from the book written by Dr. John S.M.B., Concepts of God in Africa. me see here. Okay, we're gonna go now that we conclude our read before we end today's video. We're gonna go to learn101.org. Learn101.org. Yaruba and learn101.org. Igbo. We're gonna start with the Yaruba. Okay, we are. Okay, here we go. This is where you this is where we at. We're gonna learn101.org. Yaruba verbs. Yaruba verbs. And then scroll down where it said, now let's take a break and refresh our vocabulary by learning the body parts. Ear, ita, eye, oju, mouth, inu, nose, amu, her, aron, face, oju, head, ora, heart, okan, hand, owo, fingers, ik, leg, isi, feet, atilisi. Now we just got through going over. Now like I said, we on learn101.org. Yaruba verbs. Scroll down where it said, now let's take a break and refresh our vocabulary and learn the body parts. You got the little pictures of the body parts. Now let's go to Igbo. Let's go over here to learn101.org. Igbo. Let's go over here where it said verbs. And scroll down. Where it said, now let's take a break and refresh our vocabulary by learning the body parts. You see the pictures. Now, we're on Igbo. Ear, ita, eye, enye, mouth, onu, nose, ama, her, intutu ashi, face, aru, head, ashi, heart, oba, hand, ak, fingers, mikpisi, mikturu, ak, leg, ope, okru, feet, mikpisi, mikturu, okru, ope. Now we're gonna stop right there. And we're gonna come back on our next video. We're gonna continue to talk about African traditional religion. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, is in the state of Tennessee, is in the county of Shelby. I want to thank all my fans, my support, for your continued encouragement and support. I'll continue to work on my entertainment and my music interests. Until my next video, you take care of yourself. I wish each and every one of you the very best.